I'm so close to perfection. 99.3. I do it, finish the clock for you.
It's his own world. Yeah. He called it. He called the speaker. Start here. Are you ready? We're holding you up. Okay. Morning, everyone. Ask you to please rise if you're able for the opening prayer and the pledge of allegiance before we convene the Commissioners' public meeting. Dear gracious and loving God, today we recognize an agency that is a labor of love for our community. For the past 59 years, STEP Incorporated has touched thousands of lives by making them better and providing hope for a brighter tomorrow. We thank the staff for their service and dedication. We appreciate everything that they do. On Monday, we'll reflect on those that courageously laid down their lives for freedom. Those patriots left those military spouses and children having to move on in life without them. They paid the price in the name of freedom for each of us. Lord, bless their families and fill their homes and lives with strength and peace. Father, you yourself has taught us that is greater love that has no one than this to lay down one's life for their friends. May we always honor their memories. Guide us that we properly care for the wounded comrades. Keep us alert that we remain vigilant and watchful caretakers of the freedoms and liberties they gave their lives. We remember President Ronald Reagan's words, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on to them to do the same. Lord, help us to remember that freedom is not free and for us to be worthy of their sacrifice. Let us always stand for our flag in the memory of those that shed their blood. We thank you for the men and women who have fought and continue to defend our nation. So, Lord, this morning we celebrate those that show your love by helping and provide the needs of our community, and remember and honor those that gave up their lives to protect our freedoms. Now, may our meeting be in accordance with your will. These things we humbly place before you in your name. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Flag. Hey, good morning. At this time, we'll convene our Commissioners' public meeting and ask for approval in minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Do you have any public comment on agenda items only at this time? Any online? Okay. All right, we have a proclamation for Community Action Month. And we're honored to have STEP Incorporated here today. Any of the staff is here with Rochelle. So I'll read the proclamation and we'll have Rochelle come up and say a few words. Okay, Community Action Awareness Month. Whereas Community Action has made essential contributions to individuals and families across this nation by creating economic opportunities and strengthening communities. And whereas Lycoming Clinton County Commission for Community Action, STEP Incorporated, Community Action Agency serving Lycoming and Clinton counties has been engaging diverse individuals, families, and communities in the pursuit of social and economic success for 59 years. And whereas STEP builds promotes economic stability as an essential aspect of enabling and enhancing stronger communities, stable homes through their many innovative and diverse programs. Whereas STEP provides high-quality learning to children and assist older adults and individuals with disabilities to maintain independent living situations. And whereas STEP is an economic driver in our community, maintaining a workforce of at least 280 staff members, supporting families as they strive for economic stability and removing barriers to employment at a systematic level through increased childcare and transportation options. And whereas Community Action insists on community participation and involvement, ensuring that all sectors of the community have a voice and will be heard. Now therefore be resolved, we, the Commissioners of the County of Lycoming, do hereby proclaim May 25 as Community Action Month. Recognition of the hard work and dedication of the community action agencies serving our region, state, and nation. And we urge all citizens to support their efforts to strengthen our community. Signed this date, Scott L. Metzger, Mark Sortman, and Mark Messina, Commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioners. Really excited to be here today. And while most of you know me, I'm Rochelle Abbott, the President and CEO at STEP. I don't know if you know the part of the team, and so we can only bring a couple of us, but happy to do so. We have Patty Kiesling, our CFO, Aaron Hafner, our Chief Operations Officer, Carolyn Hawk, our STEP Office of Aging Director, Nicolina Cleaver, our Office of Aging Director, and then Jamie Williams, our Administrative Coordinator. So wanted to make sure that they were recognized today for all of their hard work. So May is Community Action Month, and STEP is here to serve Lycoming and Clinton County. We are partners in what we do, and for the last 59 years, we have provided a tremendous amount of services. In 2024, we've served over 19,000 individuals. And in terms of Community Action Month, it's not the only thing that we get to celebrate in May of 2025. It's also the 20th anniversary of the creation of the STEP Homes in Need program, which was actually done in coordination with Lycoming and Clinton County Commissioners. And so we heard a little bit about Community Action Month, but for the Homes in Need program, we had 2,454 homes completed in that time frame, an average job cost of about $17,000. And we've invested over $12 million into the housing stock in Lycoming County since then. So really significant, and that's the partnership that we have with CDBG funds, FAIR funds, the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and various other funding sources throughout the time. So really excited and just wanted to highlight that as well as Community Action Month. Also just wanted to share that our aid program, which is being funded through the Lycoming County ARPA funds, is going really well. Since October, we've had over 300 individual shifts that were asked for supporting, and we've been able to support 85% of those, basically 257. We've had a huge increase in May in the numbers, and I don't have those with me, but we did actually hire 5 new people over the last 2 weeks to accommodate the increasing needs for the summer programs as well as the summer camps to ensure that children have a safe and educational place to be over the summers. 3 of the aides that we had from the beginning of the program also have become employed at the childcare facilities, where they were helping at, which is also incredible. I have a couple things I'm going to pass out, one of which is just a little bit of information about our community service block grant. And so as a community action agency, we receive federal funding, and one of those federal funds is the Community Service Block Grant. And so just wanted to give this little information to the commissioners about what that looks like. So basically, the Community Service Block Grants really kind of informs who we are as a community action agency, really providing that local solutions to hard problems, really aligning with American values, ideals, and really ensuring that we are being focused on the local level. So just have a little handout that I'm going to share. Also, in response to Community Action Month, I will ask the commissioners if they would be willing to sign a letter of support, which I could email to you, to our federal representatives. So both our senator as well as our representatives, if that's something that the commissioners would be willing to do, I can get those copies over for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, okay. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, your staff. I'm honored to be on the STEP board with many other individuals throughout the community, and I get to see the insight of the work being done on a regular basis and how dedicated the staff is.
And we have a really incredible board. Our board is made up of municipal officials in terms of the public sector, but we also have private sector individuals. And then we also have individuals who are representing low income areas, communities, populations. So it's very unique. And it's basically federally required that we have those 3 levels.
I don't have any questions. We just want to thank you for all that you guys do. Your work is much further reaching, I think, than most people understand. I mean, everyone's heard of STEP. People know. They don't really know how vast your impact is. And we just want to thank you for all that you guys do.
And I love reading each month at the board meeting, the agenda. I love reading the success stories.
Yes.
Seeing the impact that the programs have.
Yes. And next year is our 60th anniversary. So we have a lot of exciting things planned. So very exciting.
I'd like to present the proclamation to you and your staff and come up and get a picture. Thank you.
Our solicitor. He always runs. I don't know what your name was. You all get in the middle.
And on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
What?
Michelle, I want to thank Jamie for keeping us on top of things. Her emails, when she schedules something, she always follows things up on, and she's very good at what she does. So Jamie, thank you for sending out the agenda on a regular basis and getting everything followed up on. And especially during COVID, during those times, it was kind of crazy and kept us abreast on everything. So appreciate it.
We have a great team.
You do. You really do. Yeah. Okay.
Chairman, if I can make a make a motion to change the agenda. The award section for the treasurer was supposed to be for next week, so they're not here.
Thank you.
You made the motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, bid openings. Nikki?
Okay, we had one bid due for the Plunkett's Creek Fish Habitat Enhancement Project. We received 6 bids. Aquatic Resource Restoration Company, $130,000. Cornerstone Landscapes, $122,000. Cuz Excavating, $81,000. Darren Thompson Excavating, $115,500. Smith Excavating and Construction, $96,859.05. And Watson Excavating, $124,246.
Okay, thank you. Reports.
Yes. Presented for your ratification are invoices due through May 28th, 2025, to be paid on May 21st, 2025, in the amount of $2,209,960.30. Out of the general fund, that's 43.26%. Other grants, 32.88%. Out of RMS, 21.5%. And escrow is 2.35%.
And motion to accept the accounts payable.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Okay. All fair side. Aye.
Thank you.
Before Nikki runs away, I just wanted to say this. I know you had a good day the other day at the polls.
I did.
Is this the first time your name's ever been on a ballot,
Yes.
right? I know it is a nerve-wracking time. And from our when there are people who are, she was the deputy controller, and when the controller retired, and not every deputy wants to ascend to the job. And we were very happy that Nikki did want the job and did want to run. And, you know, I know you're a Republican and I'm the Democrat, but I would say you have bipartisan support from us. And I tell everyone that, like, she is the right person for the job. And we're lucky to have you and your team, and we're happy that you wanted to take the job, because again, not everybody wants to be in charge. And so we're thankful, and we know you're probably a little relieved, because you never know.
I
You
am.
never know until
Yeah.
the ballots come back. But it was a good day for you, and it was a good day for the county. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
done with grace and dignity. And it's been a smooth transition. And we're very thankful to have you.
Yeah.
I don't know about the grace and dignity part, but it has
There
been
were
smooth.
times,
It's
there were
been smooth.
times. I do want to thank the commissioners. Your support really, really has made a big difference, and gonna be a good year. So,
Yes. Thank you. Thanks.
thank you.
Okay, Mr. Hagan.
And the victory cake was excellent. It's so moist and delicious. Thank you for inviting me.
Wait, there was cake?
Pizza. What?
You like left out for once. You're usually the first on the line.
Just pizza. I like pizza. All right.
Let's see, 5.1, elected officials, personnel actions. In the court, MDJ Solomon, Alexis Hill, magisterial district court, administrative specialist, pay grade 5, full-time, $16.38 per hour, 75 hours per pay period, with an anticipated start date of June 2nd, 2025. And then Denise Breen, magisterial district court administrative specialist, pay grade 5, full-time, $18.18558 per hour, 75 hours per pay period, anticipated transfer date June 8th, 2025.
Moving on then to personal actions.
Personal actions, approve the following personal actions as conditional offers of employment, subject to the successful completion of a background check and all other employment conditions outlined here in attachment A. In planning and community development, Kellen Crape, transportation planner, pay grade 9, full-time, $50,373.18 per year, 75 hours per pay period. That's an anticipated start date of June 2nd, 2025. Also planning and community development, Emily Morocco, transportation planner, pay grade 9, full-time, $46,280.13 per year, 75 hours per pay period, with an anticipated start date of June 2nd, 2025. And then the last one there in the pre-release center, Nolan Ungard, resident supervisor, union, full-time, $19.20 per hour, 80 hours per pay period, anticipated start date June 2nd, 2025.
Is there a motion to accept personal actions?
I will make the motion.
I'll second.
All fair side. Aye.
I'd just like to add the comment that at least in planning and community development, I'm not sure about the pre-release center, but they are replacement employees. They are not new hires or not new positions within the county.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, moving to action items.
Gary, call me.
Tom, right now.
No, that didn't work.
Oh,
Hi, Gary.
hi, good morning.
Morning.
All right, so action item 7.1 is a vote to approve the agreement with Cedar Run Environmental Services in the amount of 125, that's 125 an hour. And what that is Cedar Run, yeah. Cedar Run Environmental, we use them for, when we have to deal with wetlands at all, whether it's identifying wetlands, assistance on how to prevent them or what we have to do when we encounter them. Like I said, it's just an as-needed basis.
Okay, motion accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All fair side?
Aye.
Aye.
If you go outside today, everything is a wetland.
Yeah, really. Action item 7.2, vote to approve agreement with Kent Fire Protection. Basically, Kent Fire Protection are the outfit that we have a few pieces of equipment, mainly the ones that are in the working face and the trash all the time that have a fire suppression system on them. And Kent is the outfit that maintains them and installs them when needed.
Okay, motion accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All fair side?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, up next, so action item.
Standing in for Beth today, thank you. Commissioners, for your approval is a no-cost change agreement, accepting Potter County into our next generation phone system region. They were initially just a different region with realignment and everything. They're actually dispatched by Tioga County. We now feel it's more appropriate just to bring them into our region. Like I said, is our longstanding agreement. We already have 10 counties. This would simply bring Potter in.
Okay, sold me at no cost.
Absolutely.
Motion to accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All fair side?
Aye.
Thank you.
While Hutch is here, there was an event at UPMC last night. Is celebrating the EMS service. And it was a really good program. There was a documentary film, and I can't think of the title, Broken, but Honorable, but Broken. And it exemplified the difficulties of their job, really, basically. And if you ever get a chance to see it, I would say it's 45 minutes long, maybe half hour, 45 minutes. And it was enlightening, and it just reminded how lucky we are to have all of our EMS services, but this is about the paramedics and the ambulance runs and the life saving. One of the things that it pointed out, I don't mean to go off on a tangent. One of the things it pointed out was I talked about a lot of reimbursements and the financial strains that all of our government systems have, but the volunteers, the volunteer medics and the paramedics and the EMTs that depending on where you're at, and they talked about, you would never go to a hospital and ask for a volunteer doctor. Some of these people, they're being kept alive while they get to the hospital with people who are volunteers. And I think the biggest thing that I took home with me of just the need in Harrisburg and in Washington to look at this. And I know they talked about they need a better lobbying group, and they need a point person that is in Harrisburg, and the fire hasn't, the police hasn't, the EMTs don't. And that's something that would certainly help. But it is we're certainly lucky to have you guys, and last night just reinforced what a great group we have here. And I know not every part of Pennsylvania or the country is as lucky as we are to have what we have here and the support from UPMC. So thank you again.
That's my apologies for not being here last night. I was at the Conservation District.
I understand everyone's schedule.
Yeah. We were fortunate that Commissioner Messina was able to attend, so appreciate them so much. And they did have cake. Okay, just checking. Okay, moving on, Leslie.
$7.4, a vote, we're seeking your approval to approve an agreement with Verizon. We would like to sign up for a new device management software with them and in the amount of $450 a month. This is a 2025 approved budget. And doing so will save us around $1,000 a year over what we have today. And it's actually a better package and cheaper.
Another word we like.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, we're saving.
Better.
We're
He
saving.
liked no cost better than cheaper.
Well,
but if it's
sorry.
Not no cost. Cheaper is next.
Motion to
I'll make
accept.
the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, Commissioners, the last three items on D, for site 7.5, but to approve the subsidy agreement with Wilson Township for the Hidden Valley Storm Fund project. That's the amount of $50,000. That's being used by Community Action and that funds. So it's 100%.
A motion to accept.
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Fair side.
Aye.
Aye.
Next item 7.6, vote to approve the amendment to the agreement with Scotilla Psychological Services. This is just amendment for additional services not originally accounted for with the original agreement. It's specific for cancellation.
Motion to accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Last item 7.7, vote to approve the amendment to the agreement with Gene Landis. This is for mitigation specialist, additional services for travel expenses. Part of this.
Accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All fair side.
Aye.
Commissioner comments?
As I highlighted in my prayer on Monday is Memorial Day. Which is a very special day that we recognize our fallen veterans. There's many services throughout the area. One being on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. up at the Veterans Memorial Park. They have an annual service up there, and it's beautiful. This year, they have a U.S. Navy captain. That'll be the speaker. I believe he's also maybe the president of Special Olympics in the area. I believe so, from what I read. So looking forward to meeting him and hearing what he has to say. But it's a great service. There's other services throughout the community on Monday. Once he has one, I think Matorsville has one. Picture Rocks has one. So, Larry? Montgomery? I left out Montgomery, but there's several in the area. They'll be in the news, I'm sure. If you can attend any of them, please do so. But just take a moment and remember these heroes. It's a special day.
I would just second all that. Whether you like today's politics or don't like today's politics, the reason we're all here is the people that fought, gave their lives for us to be sitting here today, and how appreciative we should be to all of them. So, as much as you can do on getting out to any of the services, those people would greatly appreciate your time.
Your Reagan quote about it doesn't get past in the bloodstream is my favorite Reagan quote. It was certainly appropriate for the day. I also wanted to mention, I mentioned Nikki as the deputy who is running for a retired seat. We also have Eric Spiegel, who's our deputy sheriff, who's kind of in the same position that Mark Lusk is retiring and he's not running again. And there's a history in Lycoming County why the sheriff's election is a different year than all the other row officers, but that's really not important today. But this is their year to run. And again, we're in another spot where we have a deputy that we love, that we think does a really good job. And he was willing and wants to, ascend to the sheriff's spot. And again, even though he's the Republican, I'm the Democrat, we work well together. He's an asset to our community, and we are just thankful that he wanted to move up as well. So we feel fortunate because sometimes counties get to these positions where they don't have a good candidate running. And we are fortunate that we are not in that position. And we have familiarity, we have a smooth transition, and we have quality people. And we want to thank and congratulate both Eric and Nikki for their success on Tuesday.
One thing I want to add, there's approximately between 19,000 and 20,000 veterans buried in Lycoming County. And every year, Memorial Day time, there's a flag placed on their resting site, on their grave site. And for the last 5 or 6 years, I've had the opportunity with our Little League to take care of Twin Hills Cemetery, which has about 1,800. And when we finish, you look out across that cemetery, you see those flags flying. It just it touches your soul. You think about each one of those lives, the impact that they had. And we teach our kids, we need to pass this down to our kids. It's so important they remember these individuals. I tell them to, look, every time I go down there, I learn something new. There's four individuals down there that are buried from the Spanish-American War. And, up in Wildwood Cemetery, there's a section of Civil War veterans that they'll have a service on Saturday morning also, honoring those Civil War veterans. So it's an honor to participate in that again this year. I want to thank every volunteer that goes out to these cemeteries, takes their time to honor these remembered, these fallen heroes. So thank you to those volunteers. Hey, public comment. Anyone? Hutch.
Just real quick, just talk about Memorial Day and talk about our younger generation. I'd also like to, I see it in the paper, and I'd like to bring up the fact that explaining the difference in the holidays. Armed Forces Day celebrating our enlisted folks currently. Veterans Day celebrating those that hung up the uniform, and of course Memorial Day we're getting ready for those that have returned. So
Absolutely.
we're all celebrating. I think it's important that they understand those differences. Every day we should celebrate our veterans and those who serve, but just holidays.
That's a good point.
Very good point, Hutch. Thank you. Yeah. Anyone else from public? Yes. Come on up.
Good morning, Denise Artley, Muncie Township Supervisor. I've only been in this position for about 1.5 years, so I'm still learning, so I'm a little bit green, but I might remain green the rest of the time I'm in, I don't know. There's a lot to learn, let me tell you. Just real quick, I want to thank the commissioners. They helped me here a few weeks ago. I came up and they took the time to talk with me and explain some things to me. But I did just come up just real quick. I had a resident that had put in an RTK just in regards to the whole FAMVIS incident, in regards to, asking for more money in that. And I guess it was kind of lengthy. Maybe that's why it was confused or whatever, but how can I fill out the RT or help them fill out the RT request, to just, make it more, make it less wording, to just basically say, has FAMVEST asked Lycoming County, for any additional funds? I mean, should she just word it that way, make it much simpler?
Chris, how would you recommend it worded?
Yeah, the simpler is the better.
Okay, less verbiage.
Correct. The
That's
more
what
you
I-
put in there, the more it makes
It
more
confusing.
difficult for us to identify the documents.
Okay, yeah, okay, thank you. And also I wanted to point out Jeff Hutchinson, he was very helpful. I went up and talked to him about the radios that, they're saying that we have to implement and get, to proceed forward with the new cell phone, with the new radio towers and that, but thank you again for always taking the time to help me and answer my questions. So I might not, word it right, but I get it across eventually, but I am trying.
Thank you.
We're all here for each other.
Yep.
Thank you, yeah.
I love when people call you Jeff. So I'm like, who is Jeff? Who is Jeff?
Okay. Any other comments? Yes, Terry. Morning, Terry.
Morning. Terry Lockley, I'm from Muncie Township, and I had brought Denise with me today because I said I wanted to speak, and she's like, okay, I think I want to say some words here. I am here I am actually the resident who put in the right to know request, and I was wondering if I could just hand out. I put in 2, and again, this is on behalf of the Muncie residents, asking twice now how we can get this answered, whether FAMVEST is asking for more funding, and it's been denied the first time. We sought more, more information to see if we can, find out. Okay, so I give you the report, so, that was put out for 9, this 33, 4, we put this one out. And it was also just denied, I believe we got it back last week. And the residents are saying, again, how can we? And you see the wordage here, I would also like to give these, sorry, copy to the reporter back here, and we would just like it to be on the record that we are asking. We would like to have it to be on the record, just a simple question. With the solicitor, I believe he's Mr. Kennedy is the one who answers this. I have a right to know request right here. Sorry, if I could, be told exactly, how I can share this with the residents that we can get this question answered. Is the developer FanVest or any of its subsidiaries asking for, or have they, applied for funding, or are they even received it already? That's the question that the residents feel like they, want to be answered. I mean, they feel like, again, this is a private company, FanVest, we understand that, but since they have received funding from already, the Act 13, the 5 million, that again, now it becomes county, that's public, so I'm sure it's, we don't want to be the bad guy here, but, I know it puts you in a bind, to kind of protect them as this, veil of secrecy is, kind of, we feel is present. So thus we have, put these, is there any way that we could just, again, just a simple question. What is those simple words, Mr. Solicitor, that would help us fill this out, that we could get the answers that we're looking for?
I'm never gonna direct, well, first of all, I don't directly respond to these.
Okay,
That is through a different attorney in the office that handles all of our right to know
Okay.
requests. I do not tell residents on how to submit their right to know request. There's plenty of information out there in the public forum through the Office of Open Records that gives guidance on how to formulate your right to know request. What I'll always say is the simpler a request is, the easier it is for us to respond. So the more wordy you are, the less direct you are, because you're trying to be ambiguous, because you want to capture a broader sense of records, the more difficult it makes for us to respond, which is why you tend to get responses like you did on this last request, which is the request is too broad and ambiguous, and it makes it difficult for us to identify what record you're actually looking for. Thank you. State that. So if you know what you're looking for, try to put it in simpler terms. Be specific with the date range that you're looking for and what parties you're looking for, especially when it's communications, what parties you're looking for communications from. So whether it's a direct entity, it's a direct commissioner, the more specific you can be, even if you have to do it in multiple steps, it makes it easier for our folks and the county personnel that has to review all of their records. Because if you simply say, I want all communications between FanVest and Commissioner Sortman, that could generate any number of documents depending on, because of the way you have to do the search terms. So the law really says you're supposed to be specific. It's supposed to be easily for us to identify what you're looking for. So that way we can actually provide you the correct documents. And it doesn't make it overly burdensome on the county or the municipal entity to actually find those records for you. We shouldn't have to have somebody spend 10 hours looking for the right documents, and then we send them to you, and then you're upset because you didn't get what you were looking for. So that would be my suggestion relative to that.
okay, so when you're.
I
reading
believe
that,
you might have it. I believe you might have a more recent request, if I remember correctly, one coming in, which I believe is in the process of being reviewed.
No, this is the only two. I do have other requests in, but not pertaining to this. These are correct, but these are the two that I've I have in. I did come to, about 3 weeks ago and requested it directly from the commissioners. The one is, I think, 3.4 and one's 4.9.
Oh, this is,
Oh, do I have?
what is this, May 14th?
Well, but,
April 7th and May 9th and May 14th.
but I'm looking at when it was submitted. It entered 3.4. The date it entered was 3.4 and,
This.
Okay.
Okay.
sorry.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So is there a way that I can have that answered just by the commissioners here themselves? Simple question. Has FanVest would not meet with each one individually, correct? Has FanVest met with the Board of Commissioners? Have they discussed any?
I believe we had that discussion a couple weeks ago. Actually, we spent about an hour in this room having that exact discussion.
And
So
left with no
I don't
answer.
think that there's.
So
no-
is there any answer? You cannot still disclose whether or not our Muncie Township supervisor is here, which I feel that
From,
I
from a
understand she gets-
discussion standpoint, there's the NDA, which prevents us from having open discussions about that. It does not deny your right to submit right to know request, and if there's documents that are responsive, they'll be provided.
Okay, since you said so, so right now they cannot answer publicly, so it's on the record. You cannot disclose whether or not FanVest is asking for any more funding or has received any more funding from the county. You can't answer that. Is that what I get? We can't do that in this public forum?
This is not an answer.
Oh, this you
Question
can't
and
answer.
answer
Oh,
forum.
this is not a question and answer.
It's a
Okay.
public comment forum.
Okay, so then with this, I understand so you said because there's the non-disclosure. When you sign a non-disclosure, the residents were researching that and said that there is such a thing as a limit in duration of the non-disclosure. Can you disclose that? Tell us when a non-disclosure must have a limitation on it. And they had signed this, I'm assuming back in 2022, 23. Is there a limit on that? On the
I don't know
non-disclosure?
if there's a limit. We signed non-disclosures. It was in early of 2024.
It was April of 2024 when we signed.
I have that, but I was surprised when I pulled that out, and I might have it with me. But did you not do that with Masara and Marabito? So the non-disclosure was never signed till the following year?
The non-disclosure that is that it's currently in place was signed by the three of us.
Yes.
Individually, and you know, one thing that I might take a little offense to this, Terry. I know your community wants words and wants an answer. We had one gentleman for your community that said, even if you signed it, that's not legally binding, but it is our word. It is our word to a developer in your community that we won't disclose who they're trying to get as a tenant. And as far as I'm concerned, my word will stand with them until they make their announcement of who their tenant is. There's no secrecy going on. The secrecy is you just can't do that. You have a national developer and you disclose that, you will lose your national developer. They will walk away from our community.
Well, just to be clear, I am not asking who they're seeking to bring in. I don't want to know that. That's not what the residents are asking. They want to ask if the developer, FanVest, is seeking more funding, tax money of the county. That's what they want to know.
I first
More
will go
funding.
back to, and I was not here to approve that, and I may have did a different vote, but the $5 million is not funded to them. It is a loan to them. They owe
Correct,
that
but we're
money
saying
back.
now, correct, they received,
So there's no
the
funding given
Act
from
13.
the county to them. That's not their money to keep. There's no funding that they got from this county. They got a loan. That's all they got.
correct, that was back what you signed the non-disclosure with.
No,
When
no,
after they had got
the
the
loan's
money.
completely different. That was
Correct.
for them to purchase the Lake Cumming Mall.
Correct, that was, so
And this
not to
board-
be
this-
confused,
This board did not.
right, so the
Yeah,
5 million that you
Commissioner Metzger
loaned,
was on the board. but
Right.
that was it.
Yes.
5 million that was loaned,
Right.
we are asking about, is there any more funding that they're asking currently? Have they asked since receiving the loan of the 5 million? Are they receiving or put in for any requests for more funding? That's what we want. Don't want to know who they want to bring in, nothing else. That's all the request is asking. Are you able to state yes or no that they are requesting more funding in any subsidiary of FanFest?
I would say at this point, they personally are not requesting any money from the county.
They are not,
They
or
are
any
not.
subsidiary. Okay. Thank you.
Now, whether their tenants do will be a different story, but that is not yet to be seen.
Okay, so it could be their tenants. Okay, but we are, yep, thank you very
And-
much.
And everything, when everything is done, it'll be disclosed.
Well, why can it not be disclosed already?
Because they're in the process right now of negotiations. Okay? And we're not going to jeopardize the negotiations of something this magnitude. Okay? That's not our role. Our role from the beginning was to try to find the best possible developer for that property. That's the reason why we went into the loan. Okay, so that somebody else didn't buy it, put something down there that the township had to live with. We put the best possible developer down there and has the best track record as a loan at that time. We did so. We made sure we were on the loan. We were protected with the bank. Okay? They put-
We're the number one lien holder.
Yeah,
So
we're the
if
number
something
one lien,
happens,
right, we own that property.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I'm aware.
Right, so
Yes.
we made sure of that. Commissioner Mirabito was adamant about that, along with us, there are two commissioners. We made sure that was in place. We did all our due diligence. Since that time, they've been out looking for the best possible candidate, best possible person to be on that site. They have found them. They could have walked away from it and brought somebody else in. They've had opportunities. Okay? They didn't want to because they felt this was the best possible fit. We all do. But when you're talking about a lease of this size, it takes a long time. A long time. Just as selling the land across the landfill with Chance, that's been a 3-year process. Just that alone. Okay, this is even bigger than that. So it takes time. They're close.
Well, that's fine. And we're not concerned about the time. We're
Right.
just concerning about any funding
Right.
Well,
they're seeking
Okay.
to.
If I can, Terry, let me just jump in on the funding. Funding's bigger than Muncie Township, bigger than like Cumming County. This is state, this is federal, this is where economic development is going. So I mean, and I'm not sitting here saying I'm 100% in agreement where taxpayers' money goes to a retailer to create economic development, but that's the world we live in right now. So if Muncie Township residents feel that not a single penny ever of taxpayer money should go to a developer and or a retailer or any economic development, they're way off base. Economic development will never happen in today's world without the support of township supervisors, county commissioners, state senators, state representatives, and the federal representatives. Do you know how much money comes from the federal government to support people like STEP that we're sitting here today, plus our tax money? So where do you draw the line? Economic development's economic development. The growth of STEP is no different than the growth of your Lycoming Mall.
Right. And let me,
That money is always going to be flowing. So if the answer to Muncie Township residents is, we don't want one single dollar spent in our community of taxpayers' money, then you won't ever have any growth.
right. Now, if you would read the right to know, we have not stated, the residents have not stated, we don't want it. We want to be aware. We don't want the secrecy. That's it. When we hear funding is there, we just want to be knowledgeable. That's it.
But the one part that I want to jump in, and I get the whole, when you said veil of secrecy, that's what, and I get why, and the people that don't trust government, and I get all that too. It's similar to a police investigation. Like there are parts of it you just can't talk about until the investigation is complete. It's not, because we're not talking about it, it doesn't mean there's something sinister. And I know, again, the people that don't trust the government, that's where their mind immediately goes. It could be something as simple as a Christmas present. If I buy someone a Christmas present today, I'm not going to tell them what it is until December 25th when they open it. And it doesn't mean it's sinister. It doesn't mean I overspend. It doesn't mean it's inappropriate. It's just because the time hasn't come yet. And things happened in the last week. But the week before that, we got an update from FAMVest that was positive, that it's continuing to march down the track. And we would love to be able to sit here and say things, because we don't want people to, again, not trust government, and we don't want the unrest in your community. We would love to be able to come here and soon enough we will be able to talk about it. But as Mark said, whether you want to look at the legal ramifications of the NDA, or just that we gave our word that we are not going to say until they are ready to say, we'd love to say, and we're going to be able to do it soon, we hope. But just because we're not saying, if I'm holding your Christmas present, it's not secrecy, it's not sinister, it's just not time yet. And when the time is right, we will all talk.
And I'll add to Commissioner Sorben's statement that we live in a different world. We are in competition with other areas. There are other areas that want this. They want it badly. Okay? We live in rural Pennsylvania. So we have to make our package attractive. If we don't make it attractive, they're going elsewhere because of the population. Just because of the population alone. Okay, they're going to take it someplace where they think they can be more successful. So we have to be in competition with other areas. Okay. I am a commissioner, and I know these two are, of economic growth. Okay. Do we want a city around here that's like New York City? No. But we need growth. We need growth. We need to increase the tax base. Prices are going up. Okay. That mall was vibrant at one time. The police were able to maintain it. They were able to do what they did for years. There's no reason why that place can't be vibrant again. It helps the sewer, it helps the water, it helps the taxes, it helps everything. Economic growth, it helps jobs. They have assured us when this project is done, the entire mall project, when they have it in their phases, it'll be $200 million worth of investment. You can't find that anywhere from a developer. They want to do that here. One of them lives down there. They love our community. They have a proven track record in Loyalsock, now in Williamsport, what they're doing up on Main Street. They've done good things. But we got to let them work with that group to get this across the finish line. We're not going to jeopardize it.
I think one of the other things that, and I'm reminded with Hutch just still sitting here, when we talk about the decreased, yes, Jeff, the decreased population of rural Pennsylvania and how it affects the healthcare industry. And when we talked about mental health a couple weeks ago, and that the bigger areas have more of the providers, and how many people, whether it's physical, whether it's labor and delivery, because they're closing rural hospitals, whether it's mental health care, that people have to travel longer distances just because of the population, the slow population shift. And we are never going to improve our area in that aspect unless we find ways to revitalize our population, which we know goes hand in hand with economic growth. So it's not just a dollars and cents thing of where you look at tax money in and tax money out. There's also health and well-being aspects that will be benefited by increasing our tax base. And again, as Scott said, we're not going back to, we're never going to be a large metropolitan area, but our population is declining. And if we could just even stabilize it or increase it a little bit, it would benefit our community in many ways, not just tax wise.
There was a point back, I think it was about 2022, somewhere around there. The federal government was looking at, forget the term, but they were looking at taking away different areas of population, which would affect your federal funding. Jason Fink brought that to our attention. We all wrote letters. There was like 500 letters that went in from this area into the state. We were able to maintain that. If we weren't able to maintain that, it was changed in 9 different areas across different states. We would have lost tons of federal money, tons. The Medicare alone would have been millions, just by us dropping below that population level. And we were very close. that could happen again. And we can't jeopardize that. We need to grow the county.
And I'd just like to say, I thank you for all your information. And I just want to say, address Musina there, that again, we're not against growth. We're not against the government. We're not against, the developer. We're not asking, who does the developer want to bring? We are only asking, as the township residents, are they receiving? Because all of the non-disclosure, all the, like I say, the secrecy around all this, all we're asking, are they asking for more funding? And I guess Mr. Sortman, you stated that at this time, they are not asking for any more funding.
What I would add to that, Terry, again, is any economic growth, today's world is somehow going to be funded by taxpayer money, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, we would just like the taxpayers to know what it is. What are they asking?
Is it going to happen? Most likely. Most likely, yes. There will be taxpayer money, not necessarily county taxpayer money, state taxpayer money, or federal taxpayer money will get somehow directed into that development to make that development happen. It's economic development. I want to make one other statement about money, and then I'll shut up. Act 13 is where that money is coming from. We are so fortunate in this community that we had, going way back, and it was Senator Y'all. You guys are taken away from a future speech of mine, but Senator Y'all, the late Representative Garth Everett, and I believe former state representative Rick Marabito were all involved that fought so hard, and you can call it a word salad in the way they designed it as an impact fee over a severance tax. I don't care what you call it. The bottom line is those gentlemen fought very hard to get the money to stay in our community, and it's designed as economic development funds. That's what it's here for. So is Act 13 going to be spent for economic development in our community forever? Yes. Do you want to call it taxpayers' money? It is taxpayers' money, but it's taxpayers' money that never would have existed without the gas industry. So it's not coming from your property tax, your county tax. It's not coming from those tax dollars. It's coming from a separate funded tax designed on the gas industry 20 years ago. That we are so lucky to have that here, to be able to do that, that the silver lining is those tax dollars would still need to be spent for economic development. And we have the gas industry to thank for giving us that money, that it didn't come out of our pots or your pot as a supervisor or our state at this point. Now, again, if you want to put break the nose in, put it into the state and the federal level, there's so much money spent on economic development, it would blow your mind. So whatever little bit, and I really don't believe that FAMVest will be asking. I believe that their tenants will be asking, because when you bring a big boy in, they ask, and they will ask, because that's how they do their business. And it's nationwide. It's not here.
I guess I just would like to clarify too, for everyone, anytime there's any money that goes out the door, we publicly announce that. So everyone would be notified. And again, it may just not be the timing, but until that money goes out the door, it has to be done in this room. Publicly acknowledged, because the controller's office will not pay it, and neither will I.
That's
So are we allowed to know about it? Or
we
we cannot publicly, even you put a right to know in, we will not be notified until it goes out the door? Or when you put a right to know in, can they know prior to it
I don't
going
know
out the
that you
door?
can know prior to that, Terry, but it will be on an action item that will be on an agenda that has to be voted on.
We have to
right?
vote on
We formally approve
Yeah,
it.
On the agenda.
Yeah.
Right,
You can make-
because until then, it's not really approved until it's done here.
It can't be a secret backdoor.
Yes.
Right.
And if you're public, deal, no matter what.
Right. If
So
you
then
look-
we can only know about it when it's finalized, not that they're
No,
asking.
No, what you do is, if you look at our agenda, every week it has public comment on agenda items only, prior to us voting on them. So you would show up at the meeting, make your statement on that, and then we vote on it after that. And then at that point, then it goes through the process of being paid, signed, after it's voted on, if it's approved. So,
Okay.
That's our transparency process.
Right.
Okay, thank you very much.
thank you.
Can I speak one more?
Yeah, come on up. Next week. No, I'm kidding.
I'm in between jobs right now, so no. Thank you. I'm sorry that I didn't say it before, but not that it would have made any, well, maybe it would, or still, she still would have asked, but anywho, I am meeting with the developers of FanFest, not the developer, but I am meeting with FanFest tomorrow afternoon. So,
Good.
so hopefully, you know, and I will find out, we'll be finding out what is, going to go down there. So.
As Denise says, you know, you and I had the ability to speak as township supervisor to township supervisor and had real nice communication just in general of you know, how local government operates and, you know, and Terry and I have spoke several times as well and how local government, and congratulations on your win as well, Terry. But as you have the opportunity to sit with that developer and understand, I mean, I think that helps. But again, there'll be conversations that you will have with them that you're not going to be able to
Right.
to share with you know, unfortunately,
I know
that's
I
just
could say that I'm meeting with them.
yes, yeah,
I don't know what's, you know,
right.
gonna be said.
Yeah, you know,
And
I
I'm
mean,
sure what is said, I probably, you know, if it's good.
I mean, for my 14 years of Lostock Township, I met with every developer, myself, the township manager, and our codes officer. Met with every developer before anything was even shared with the rest of the supervisors. That was just our little team that we would meet with them and say, hey, yeah, we think this is a good idea. We think this is a bad idea for that community. Do you want to say that was secretive or hidden or no? It was progress and making the flow of that developer work better within our community.
Right.
And that's what you two will both be challenged with as you're the next realm of township supervisors in Muncie Township, that how do you make it all work? Sometimes that has to be just in closed door conversations before it becomes the public conversation, because it's all a negotiation at that point of making things work. And that's one of your roles will be is making what your community is looking to do and what you need from a developer to do to bring it all together. And I think you guys will be successful at it, but you'll learn a lot more in the year
There's
ahead.
a lot of residents, like, you know, we were out there at polls on Tuesday and, you know, and a lot of elderly people, and they're like, you know, well, I'm really tight with my budget, you know, and I only get SSI, and, you know, they got their, you know, their heat and their grocery bills and their medicine and that, so I mean.
And again, the nice thing,
And I understand, you know.
the nice thing with economic development coming from Act 13 is that would never, even if FanVest asked for $100 million, and we had an Act 13, which we don't, by the way, in Act 13, but you know, if it was available in Act 13, that doesn't affect our budget. Act 13 is a whole separate fund. It has nothing to do with our budget as a county. So if FanVest or any of their tenants were to get any economic development monies, it will not affect our budget negatively, that we would have to raise taxes based upon that. That would never happen. Never happen.
And I just remind,
Hoping for development.
I would just remind everybody, I understand that you feel that as residents, there's a level of transparency that needs to be had, but even the right to know law has exceptions to information that is allowed to be shared with the public, which it's called the pre-decisional exemption. So when these folks are having discussions about things that they haven't actually made a decision on, those are exempt from right to know law disclosures. And the reason for that is if they shared every discussion that never comes to fruition, we would be causing chaos within the public realm. And so you may feel that they're being secretive and they're not being transparent. They are being compliant with the law, and they are elected to have those discussions, and you've elected them for that exact reason. And so you got to understand that. And I believe you probably do as a sitting supervisor, and Ms. Lockley, I'm sure you'll start to appreciate that once you're a sitting supervisor and understand how the public realm works relative to these discussions, how they happen and how they have to transpire, and what information can and should be shared with the public, and how and when it is shared with the public.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other comment for the audience? Any online?
We have a couple.
Yes.
Russell Thomas Adams, it says, good morning, Montgomery County. Our governor decided to delay the decision to close FCI Rockview. Probably hoping people will forget and will not be as upset over a possible closure. I think he is considering this for a political purposes. The building is not in despair, but well kept and is fully utilized. Why is it necessary to misrepresent facts for a plan that is supposed to be good for opposition to closing Rockview? Thank you for the dedication to our county. God bless Lycoming County. God bless America. And then there's 2 comments from Lyco Secrets. Tell Terry you can appeal those denials to the Pennsylvania Office of Open Records. They have a web form. It's really easy. You don't need an attorney. They met at Project Blue Well in January of 2025. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Completed our agenda, so we'll be adjourned till Thursday, May 29th, 2025. Thank you. Thank you.